You know, had the Christian denominations never built their structures, and if they would have kept church in the home the way the apostles did, moving from home to home, they would have been fine. They wouldn't have needed government support. They wouldn't have needed government protection. They wouldn't have a mass child abuse problem. But they had to know Jesus. They had to truly understand how to do it. And so I started thinking about this. You'll understand the end why I'm saying this. But I'm like, that's what they should have done. It should have never become a building. Because it's sterilized. So I asked AI, I'm like, what would the world look like had everybody followed the apostles' examples and just kept church in the community of believers moving from house to house? This is what it said. Christianity would likely be more decentralized with smaller autonomous groups rather than large mega churches. This could foster deeper personal relationships, accountability, and spiritual growth within smaller communities. House churches tend to emphasize biblical teaching, prayer, and shared resources, which might result in more biblically grounded and active faith among believers. Yes, it would be more meaningful. It would be more intimate. It would be truly what God wanted. In fact, house churches historically thrived under persecution. So in modern hostile environments, a house church movement could prove more resilient and adaptable. They wouldn't need government funding. They wouldn't have a mass child abuse problem because there would be it would be too close with the community to where that couldn't take place. Do you see what I'm saying? Which is why it was very important to take the literal example the apostles set and do that. But when you become some big institution like this isn't Jesus. The mega churches, it's not even close. It's not even close to being intimate. It's all about them. It's not about Jesus. Or the Catholic Church, any of it. It's sterilized. It's like it's supposed to give you this idea that this is heaven. This is where God is. And the reason I realized this is because, well, this is really where God is. That's an AA meeting. Yeah, no crosses, no altar, just people sitting around in folding chairs and folding tables. And back in my day, it was filled with cigarette smoke because everybody's not going to give up all their vices at once. But that's where, I was born and raised Catholic. I've been in the mega church. I've been to an AA meeting in a mega church. Oh, what they did to the steps. It was like sacrilegious, in my opinion. Because everybody gets hung up on, because some of the steps say God and some say higher power. And there's a reason. All the steps are based on the Bible, though. They're written based on Bible verses. But the reason the founders of Alcoholics Anonymous did it that way, with one verse saying, one step saying higher power and another saying God, is because it was open to helping everybody. Otherwise, if you start putting Jesus in there, then what it becomes is it's about only Christians come. And when I went to the Christian church denomination and they changed God and higher power to Jesus, I'm like, oh yeah, no, Jesus wouldn't support this. But they are an organization that gets no government funding and to this day are self-supporting. And yet that's where I found God. It's amazing to me. It's amazing. And here's the greatest dig at all the churches of Christianity. Is that, do you want to know, besides an Al-Anon, like an Al-Anon club, like many towns will have an Al-Anon club. They're meetings that they have regularly every day. But the majority of your AA meetings are in the basement of churches. Yeah. That's where they are. And that's where God is. He's in the basement. Because again, I saw God more in these kind of rooms than ever in any church. So the church has got something wrong. And Alcoholics Anonymous, never meaning to become a church, well, that's what God used it for. Because what we do is talk about, especially if you're new, of course, you're usually just listening. But otherwise, it's about sharing your experience, strength, and hope. And every alcoholic knows, I didn't do this because I couldn't get myself sober. This was all about God. Yes, talk about worshiping God. We close with the Lord's Prayer. But there's no Bible reading. But it's talking about God. And that's where he is. It's just so amazing to me that they turned God's word into this big ritual, and God thought, yeah, I'm not going for any of these churches. They're going to just go down the path that they need the government, and they need them to fund them, and they need more and more of their big buildings and their mega churches. But where I'm going to really be is here, where the people know me the best. They don't get any government funding. And the reason I said about house churches is because many times when you're going to a meeting regularly, several of the people in the meeting may decide, let's start doing a home group. We'll go to each other's home every week. And that's even more intimate. I mean, this is intimate as it is, because when you go to the same regular meetings, you see the same faces. But when you do a home group, it's where you can have a meal or hors d'oeuvres with each other, and you still have your meeting. You're talking about God. You close with the Lord's Prayer. I mean, this is how simple it was. And all the churches turned it into a complete nightmare that now has a massive child abuse problem in it because they sterilized it. See, God wanted to use America. He made it religious freedom, bring people here. All this outward missionary work, this is all worldly churches that just think they're on some missionary vision. Instead of leaving it in God's hands, he was going to bring them to America and then hopefully be attracted to Christianity. Yeah, God didn't want Christianity going into all of these dangerous countries, forcing, it on people, okay? But the churches, the Christian denominations have screwed it all up. They have. I'm sorry if they don't like that, but this was really where the church was. Amazingly, though, there's along with 12 steps that Alcoholics Anonymous has, they have 12 traditions, and a few of these are very important that had the Christian churches maybe took a lesson from the real church God created. Then they might not be where they're at right now, even though they think that they're so high and mighty. There's something missing there, most people would say, because it's phony. Each AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. Our public relations policy is on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. You will never see Alcoholics Anonymous advertised. They never to this day will. They use it in the treatment centers, the long-term treatment centers. But they can't advertise it. And this is what has kept them safe. Because the thing is, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. They won't let somebody with big money, some wealthy person come in, and they won't accept it. Why? Because then that wealthy person will want to start dictating it. See, the science hates this. This is why they're always kind of underhanded when they write their papers about AA, because the fact is it is a successful program. Do people relapse? Yeah, and they love to say that to try to make people think it's not successful. No, it's in every country in the world. As millions and millions that have recovered. That's a miracle right there. But the science doesn't like that, because it doesn't like that this is where God is at. And I don't think the Christian churches like it either, because if they really wanted to be successful, they would have taken an example from AA. I mean, it's been around since the late 30s. And yet, they are able to sustain themselves, and God is more in those rooms than I've seen him ever be in any Christian church.